Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pearly Whites Daily Show, where we discuss situations you might face in your office and how to handle them. Today, we have a doozy of a topic for you guys, but first, let me introduce our panel of guests. Please welcome esteemed dental professionals Vanessa Garcia, Sepide Kafia Pasabadi, and Jin Kim, as well as our ethics expert, Tiffany Hung. Welcome, ladies, and thank you for coming on to the show.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so here's the topic for today's discussion. You have jumped into a world of social media, and your dental practice now has a Facebook, a website, a Twitter, and a LinkedIn. You assign your tech-savvy front office receptionist to keep your social media sites up to date. You have been getting positive feedback from patients that have loved the accessibility and the information provided by these sites until today. This afternoon, you received a message from one of your patients who is very upset. It seems that your receptionist was impressed with an outcome of an aesthetics case that you have done recently, and she posted the pictures of your patients on your practice's Facebook page without their permission. This is a very interesting situation we have here, and it seems to happen a lot lately. So let's start with Vanessa. What do you think should happen in this situation?
First of all, thank you for having me, Anthony. And my overall point is I feel like the patient should be told that her complaint has no merit because the photos did not identify her by her name. And I mean, her complaint has no real foundation because the photos, as I previously stated, have not identified her. And by not adding the patient's name and no other personal identifiers were used, this means that HIPAA was not violated. And also, in addition, posting before and after photos of patients has been a common practice in dentistry and other professions for many years. And this is especially true during these times since Instagram has been so popular and public portfolios for dentists have been pretty relevant in our nowadays. Also, the photos weren't used to hurt the patient or her image, so defamation of the patient did not occur. So overall, the patient should be told her complaint's not valid and the receptionist should not be fired, and this is not a case where a lawsuit would be valid.
Okay, very good points that you have made, Vanessa. Seppi, what about you? What do you think?
Hello, Anthony. Thank you so much for having me here. In my opinion, the owner best option would be firing the receptionist, since the staff, she violated both patient privacy and the practice policy. She put the owner in trouble by making that post without having the patient's consent. She had already been in my opinion, she had to be already be familiar with having consent before posting any information of the patient, and she didn't follow the policy. She didn't follow the patient privacy. And as a staff, the first thing that you have to know when you're working somewhere as a receptionist or tech savvy, you have to know these steps. These are like the basic of every clinic, and then you have to know it. And she didn't know it, and just being excited to post the outcome of the dentist job or work wouldn't be an excuse for her. And I feel like the best option would be firing her, because there is no way that violating HIPAA wouldn't be acceptable for any reason. So this is my opinion. So I think firing the receptionist is the best option.
Okay, thank you. Pretty drastic move there, firing your receptionist. Jin, what about you?
Okay, first, thank you, Anthony, for having me today. I think firing the receptionist isn't the ideal solution for this matter, but it's only just punishment for the receptionist. So in my opinion, what needs to happen in the first place is deleting all the photos on the website and calling the patient for the apology. We should let the patient know that we're acknowledging our mistakes and understanding how the patient felt about when she saw her pictures online. And we need to reassure the patient that this won't happen again in the future. So next, it is important to conduct appropriate training sessions for the entire staff in the office on patients' confidentiality and privacy policy, and create a handbook for the protocols. I'm pretty sure that if we show the efforts, the patient will understand and will likely come back to our office again. That's my opinion on that.
Okay, thank you, Jen. Okay, now that we've heard from everyone, let's speak to our ethics expert, Tiffany, here. Tiffany, what do you think about this situation? What should be done?
Thank you for having me here, Anthony. I really enjoyed listening to all the different opinions that you guys have about this case. So just a little background, according to the American Dental Association's Principles of Ethics and Professional Code of Conduct, there are 5 fundamental principles that we have to address: patient autonomy, non-maleficence, beneficence, justice, and veracity. In this situation, each of those ethics principles were violated, some more than the others. So let me explain. The dentist and the receptionist did not protect the patient's right to confidentiality because they posted a picture of the patient without their knowledge and consent. And although the patient's name was not posted, the patient could still be easily identified by those who know her. So in this case, the dentist and receptionist violated the principle of veracity by not communicating truthfully that they were using the patient's photos for their own advertisement. So this action was not just, nor was it protecting the patient from harm.
Okay, that's interesting. So in this situation, what would you have done if you were the dentist?
Well, it's not exactly a black and white solution. I think it would really depend on the employee. So if this wasn't the first time that the receptionists have violated principles of ethics and professional code of conduct, then I would probably look into possible termination. But however, you do have to understand that sometimes it's not always intuitive to consider code of ethics when you're just, making decisions on a day-to-day basis. These principles really have to be drilled into a person's head so that they can get used to thinking about the consequences of their actions from an ethical perspective. And I feel like this is something that all employers should be teaching their employees when they're first hired. This situation can quickly turn into like a legal case of, if the patient decides to sue, since one can argue that it is a HIPAA violation. So it is best to train all of your employees on the subject and prevent these situations from happening. But personally, I would probably agree with Jin. I would probably speak with the receptionist and make sure that he or she is aware of the severity of the situation, then continue with any consequences that would be fitting. And then I would also ask the receptionist to personally apologize to the patient for violating his or her privacy, and making sure that we acknowledge our mistakes and promise to make amends for the future. And then also, to prevent this situation from happening in the future, a protocol should be made so that everyone in the office are trained to respect these principles of ethics.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you, Tiffany. Great discussions, ladies. Thank you for coming on to the show. Thank you for giving extremely professional insight on this situation and how you would handle it. And thank you for watching our show. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.